Some good scores there. Now we've got Cameron Schaufstall Jr. from Boston University. Forward 2.5 somersault in the pike position. Seven judges will be awarding him lots of sixes, some fives. Up next, Nathaniel Belch from the Naval Academy, one of two seniors in here, doing a forward 2.5 somersault, one twist in the pike position. Very high degree of difficulty on that one, 63 points there, some sevens, a 7.5. He is now in the lead. Jake Hedrick, a freshman for the Naval Academy. Inward 2.5 somersaults within the tuck position. Bunch of 7.5s and 8s for that. Still not enough to take over the lead. And we got Hudson Kay, also from Army. We got 3 Army divers in this competition. Inward 2.5 somersault in the pike position. And 64.5 points. That puts him in the lead with one diver left in this round, and that is Bradley Buchter, a sophomore from Naval Academy. And we're 3.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Very difficult dive as well for the first round. And look at that, 8s, 3 8s in fact, 78.2, and Bradley is in the lead. Getting some advice from his coach. Taking a look at the replay as well. We're into our second round. 4 3.5 somersaults tuck for Michael Burke from the Army, excuse me. Military Academy freshman. On the boards right now, Andrew Mizell, freshman from the Military Academy. About to do a forward 3 1/2 somersault in the tuck position. This is his highest degree of difficulty dive at a 2.8. Again, very high degree of difficulty, so even if he scores low, when they multiply the scores by the degree of difficulty, he should be able to get something fairly high. Some 4.5s and 5s. He'll over-rotate it. We'll see if he can bounce back in round number 3. Now we've got Samuel Beluzzi, the senior, doing an inward 2.5 somersault in the tuck position. A little over-rotated. We'll see how the judges think, see if that's enough to propel him into the lead. And it is, just barely. Cameron Schofstall from Boston University up next. Doing an forward 2.5 somersault, 1 twist in the pike position. Very clean dives. Should score pretty high. Got some 6s, mostly 5.5s. Next up, Nathaniel Belch, senior from Naval Academy, doing a forward 3.5 somersault in the pike position. Very nice dive. So Andrew Mizell earlier did a forward 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. This is a harder one in the pike position, 3.1 degree difficulty. You will score very high on this one, I'm sure. Some 9. Got a 9 from one of the judges, mostly 8s. Jake Hedrick, freshman from the Naval Academy, now doing a forward 3.5 somersault in the tuck position, which Andrew Mizell over-rotated. No over-rotation from Jake, maybe not coming out of the dive quickly enough. Let's see how his scores pan out. 6.5s and 7s. And that'll be enough to put him in the lead so far. 2 divers left in this round. Next up, Hudson Kay from the Military Academy. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist in the pike position. And the judges give him some 7s, pretty much. Probably going to be enough to put him in the lead. We still got Bradley Buchter to go left in this round. He's about to do the exact same dive, forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist in the pike position. So in my eye, they both look like they did the exact same dive, same entry, same execution. We'll see Bradley get in the lead, and he does get in the lead. He got some 7s and 7.5s. He always checks out his dive on the screen before he gets ready for the next one. And right now we're starting our 3rd round. We have Michael Burke on the board from the Military Academy. He's about to do a forward 1.5 somersault with 2 twists in the free position. Not as many somersaults, so it's not as high of a degree of difficulty for him. So even if it's a high-scoring dive, the degree of difficulty might not give him a high enough total score. Some 5.5s and 6s for 41 total points. Andrew Mizell's up next. His 3rd round dive is a back 1.5 somersault in the tuck position. Relatively easy dive, 1.9 degree of difficulty. It's actually his easiest dive of the competition tonight. And over rotation there. Sometimes it's the easiest dives that are the hardest to do. So he did complete the dive, so he will get some scores, just not very high. He has some 3.5s and 3s. See if he can bounce back in round number 4. And next up is Samuel Belluzzi from Loyola University. He's doing a back 2.5 somersault tuck. So he had more revolutions than Andrew Mizell did. Andrew had 1.5. Samuel had 2.5. So harder dive, and he got higher scores, 5.5, some 6s. Next up is Cameron Schofstall from Boston, doing his 3rd round dive, a 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. And some 6s and 5.5s. Over rotation has been kind of common so far these divers. We'll see if we can kind of fix that as we're approaching the halfway mark of this men's 3-meter competition here at the 2018 Patriot League Championships. And now we got Nathaniel Belch from the Naval Academy. Back 2.5 somersault in the pike position. So I'd been talking about over rotations, and with that one, it was an under rotation. The scores may not get above a 4. So it's a 4.5s. Nathaniel on his 3rd round dive. Jake Hedrick up next from the Naval Academy. He's doing a back 2.5 somersault in the pike position. So one less revolution than Nathaniel just did. I'm sorry, he did the exact same dive. Sorry, he did the exact same dive. And much better. He actually, you know, as we said, Nathaniel under-rotated, and Jake was slightly over-rotated, but got an 8 from a judge, mostly some 7s, though. Now Hudson Kay's 3rd round dive, a forward 3.5 somersault pike. Executed wonderfully. That's his highest degree of difficulty dive at 3.1. He should get some 8s for that one, at least 8s. No 8s, just 7s, 7.5s. He's in the lead. Bradley Buckner finishing up 3rd round. 107B is his dive, forward 3.5 somersaults in the pike position. Same dive that Hudson Kay did. I said Hudson should have gotten 8s, and Bradley should definitely get 8s. He got 1 8 from a judge, mostly 7.5s the rest of the way. But he takes the lead at the end of 3 rounds. So Bradley Buckner, the sophomore from the Naval Academy, leading at the halfway point of this men's 3-meter competition. Now we got Michael Burke. 405C is his dive. It's an inward 2.5 somersault in the tuck position. And a little bit of over rotation on his upper body that causes the splash. And the judges give him 4s and 4.5s. One judge gives him a 5. Michael just a freshman, so getting his Patriot League Championship debut. We'll see how he continues on in this. Another freshman from the Military Academy, Andrew Mizell, doing a reverse 1.5 somersault in the tuck position. Go out to the board and then go in backwards. Again, a little under rotation, didn't finish the rotation there, but he did do it, just not fully. So fours and halves for Andrew on his 4th round. And Samuel Baluzzi, the senior from Loyola, about to do a reverse 2.5 somersault in the tuck position. Again, another example of under rotation. The legs just not getting to vertical. We'll see how it pans out with his scores. 4.5s and 4s for Samuel. And now we're about to get another reverse 2.5 somersault from Cameron Schofstall, this time in the pike position. A higher degree of difficulty dive when it's in the pike position. And he's rewarded well, 5.5s and 6s. Still not enough to take the lead from Bradley Buchter. He's holding on to a lead there. Now we have Nathaniel Belch. Reverse 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. Better. He's the only one doing the reverse 3.5. The highest degree of difficulty in this round, 3.5. So the 5.5s that he got and 5s still gives him a high score, and he jumps into the lead. Again, Bradley Buchter, when we see him in 3 dives from now, see what he has to do to respond to that. Jake Hedrick now, reverse 2.5 somersault in the tuck position. In a case of over rotation. And that corresponded with the judges' scores of 4s and a few 3.5s for Jake. Hudson Kay, the Military Academy, now ready to do a back 2.5 somersault in the pike position. Another over-rotated dive. We just get some 4s, 3.5s. And that's the way it happens. 4s, 4.5s, it's a 3 and a 3.5. And here's Bradley Buchter, who was leading after 3 rounds and definitely will be leading after this round. All he has to do is score 15 points on this dive and he'll be leading. And he's doing a back 2.5 somersault in the pike position, which is what Hudson Kay just did. Definitely not over-rotated to the degree that Hudson Kay was, but still not as clean as, of course, Bradley would like. And 6.5s and 7s, though, takes a monstrous lead, though. He's got about 40 points of a lead going into this 5th round. 5th of 6 rounds, excuse me, in this men's 3-meter diving final. Michael Burke now, just doing a back dive pike. Very easy dive for any diver to do. Actually surprised he didn't do that in the first round, just to kind of loosen up, shake off some jitters. Got some 6s and 5.5s on that one. Next up, Andrew Mizell from Military Academy. He's going to do a back 1.5 somersault with 1 1/2 twists. Fairly easy dive to do when it comes to the twisting dives. And he executes it very well. Not over-rotated or under-rotated. That should bear out in the scores. We got some 6s. One judge gave him a 7. Next up, Samuel Baluzzi. One of 2 seniors in this competition. He's going to be doing an inward 1.5 somersault, 1 twist. Same degree of difficulty as Andrew Mizell's last dive. So again, it's just a very easy dive to do. See how it bears out in the scores. Some 6s, 5.5s. So he looks at the replay on the screens above him on the wall. Cameron Schaafstall from Boston University, an inward 2.5 somersault in the pike position. Or as a back, sorry, the back 2.5. I got a little nervous there, thought he was going the wrong direction, but he was going in the correct direction. And he gets 5s, 5.5s. Nathaniel Belch, inward 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. Just got to get those rotations going and don't over rotate or under rotate. Very well executed. Definitely not over or rotate or under rotate it. Could have maybe got a little higher on his jump and he would have been rewarded higher. 6s and 6.5s. A couple 5.5s. We got Jake Hedrick now, a freshman from Naval Academy, about to do a reverse 1.5 somersault with 2.5 twists. Very good dive. Should get some high scores, 7s, and he does, 7s and 7.5s. Even the judge gave him an 8. And Hudson Kay now doing almost the same dive, but back 1.5 somersault with 2.5 twists free in the free position. There's 1 less somersault. We saw a little bit of foot separation there, and most likely the judges will have seen that. And we'll bear it out in the scores. 6s, 5.5s. And Bradley Buckter, the sophomore from Naval Academy, who's been leading throughout, doing a reverse 2.5 somersault in pike position. And not Bradley's best dive, but still should hold him comfortably in the lead. He gets out to check his dive. 6s and 6.5, so he's still very comfortably in the lead, almost still about 40 points. So now we're about to start our 6th and final round of the men's 3-meter diving here at the Patriot League Championships. Michael Burke, reverse dive pike. Very simple dive for Michael to conclude his meet. So he had a reverse dive pike, or sorry, a back dive pike in the 5th round. He just wanted to finish with a reverse dive pike. 6.5s and 7s. Very clean dive for Michael. Finish out his first 3-meter competition at the Patriot League Championship. And another freshman, Andrew Mizell, inward 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Clean dive. Looked like his head was a little bit out of line with his body as he was searching for the water to judge his entry. Still a pretty good score, 6s and some 5.5s. A good Patriot League debut for Andrew Mizell. Now the senior, Samuel Baluzzi. Reverse, or sorry, 4 2.5 somersaults. And he gets some 6s and 6.5s. Cameron Schaufstall ready to do an inward 2.5 somersault in the tuck position. Five and a halves and 5s for Cameron on his final dive. And Nathaniel Belch, the senior from Naval Academy, ready to do a forward 2.5 somersault with 2 twists in the pike position. Nathaniel finishes up with some 6s and 5.5s, 6.5s. Like he may finish in second place. We'll see how these next 2 divers round finish up. Bradley Buchter almost guaranteed a win. Jake Hedrick now forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist. We'll over rotate it. That will affect his scores. The freshman should still be happy that he qualified for the final. He definitely will take some knowledge of this. Some scores of 6s and 5s. And Hudson K up to do his final dive in the 3-meter. Reverse 2.5 somersault in the pike position. In a case of coming out of that dive just a little late. Get some scores of 6s and 5.5s. And our final diver, if all goes well, Bradley Buchter, the sophomore from Naval Academy, will win with this forward 2.5 somersault with 2 twists in the pike position. And there's your 2018 Patriot League champion in the men's 3-meter diving. There's going to be no contest about that one. 7s and even 1/8 from a judge. Bradley Buchter is your 3-meter diving conference champion. Congratulations to Bradley, a sophomore, so he's still got 2 more years to go as he gets a hug from his Naval Academy teammate, Nathaniel Belch. So let's look at some of those dives that got Bradley to that conference title. And that was a 3.5, and here comes a second dive of twisting dives. Just 2.5 somersaults and then a reverse 2.5. That was not his best dive, but still better than anyone else ever did. And then that final twisting dive, I think he knew he was winning. It wasn't the question of winning, but just how he could do. And I'm sure he's going to look at all the video and figure out how he could be better on 3-meter. But of course, he's got to get ready for the 1-meter, which will be coming up on Friday.